So, Mrs. Erlenbush made this great worksheet, and I was going to basically be drawing all of these out on a whiteboard. And I thought, you know what, there's got to be a better way. So, trying this overhead camera here. Hope this works out. You guys, these ideas that we're going to be going over here today are at the level that we're taking them. They're like super simple, but really overall. These are some really important ideas, and unfortunately, the way we're teaching it right now, it's just really hard to explore. I know that if you guys ever get into Mr. Gimmel's statistics class, he's going to go over a lot of this stuff. So, what our real goal here is just to try to let you see different ways to look at the data. Okay. So, and this worksheet basically has everything that you need to know. I am going to be putting out a quiz tomorrow. And so if you understand this worksheet, then you'll be able to do just fine on the quiz. I think the quiz is pretty easy. I hope it's easy. Like I said, if we were in class every day and I was able to, have a little bit better examples and things like that and be more detailed and we could have a conversation, this might make a little bit more sense. But anyway, we're going to do our best here. And there is a ton of information on here. Okay. So, what we're talking about here is we're talking about shape of some data, center of a data, and spread of a data. Okay, graphic displays are useful for seeing patterns in data. Patterns in data are commonly described in terms of center, shape, and spread. Okay, so this first thing here is we're talking about spread. As you can see, the data is more closely lumped together. Okay, the best example I like to think about is there's a car lot that's right over on the corner of Broadwater and 24th. Okay, and you can tell that guy buys cars for a specific group of people. He's not looking for people that are looking for cheap used cars. He's looking for people that are maybe a little bit higher grade used car lot, and he always has some pretty cool cars out there. And if you watch, basically every car is somewhere between about $18,000 and about $25,000. So it's a very tightly clumped. He's trying to find he's looking for a specific car buyer, okay, which I think is really smart. He's looking for slightly upscale people that are buying used cars, all right? And so you would say his spread is less. It's pretty small, only about $8,000, but it's a tight spread compared to the price of the car that he has. 8,000 spread compared to the cost of a high car and a low car. I would say his median right here is probably about $23,000. I haven't done any exact research on that, but I think you guys know the car lot I'm talking about. He always has a Corvette or a BMW or something on there. It's a cool little car lot. Okay. So his, I would say, is a very tight spread. Now, I think you'd almost have to get away from cars. A wide spread, okay, I'll tell you a set of data where there'd be widespread, and that would be ninth grade boys. There's a whole bunch of really short ninth grade boys, and there's a whole bunch of really tall ninth grade boys. And, obviously that it would still be a normal curve. There's going to be your average, but the spread is going to be really wide. And why? That's because ninth grade boys, the amount of testosterone that's hit each boy is completely different. So the spread is wide. Okay. So that spread, less spread, more spread. Okay. So now let's talk about shape. These curves right here, this is what we call, in the notes, they're called symmetric, and we're going to go with that. These are also called normal curves, okay, or they're also called bell-shaped curves. And the thing that makes them a symmetric curve is that there's only one hump, okay, and then it's kind of equally shaped coming off of each side. Most of your data in the real world is a bell-shaped curve. It's amazing. If you measured a whole bunch of people and just their weights, you're gonna have a few really small, skinny people. You're going to have a few really fat people. But overall, everybody's going to be kind of here in the middle. Shoe size is another one. Clothes size, all of those. The data says that pretty much everybody's going to lump right here at medium and large. And then there's going to be a few triple extra larges and a few triple extra smalls. And then everything in between. So when they send clothes to Costco, you know, they don't know exactly who's all going to show up, but they can pretty much guarantee you're just going to need a few smalls, really smalls, a few really bigs, and a lot of mediums and larges. Okay, so this is what we call a symmetric or normal curve. Okay, if you wanted to write the word normal here, that would be great. I actually don't think that that's a word that's going to be used on your quiz tomorrow, but that's a word that gets used a lot. Okay, now we're still good there. Okay, so now this next one is this is also called unimodal, one mode. Okay. Oh, let me also mention that when you're talking about a histogram, okay, that is normal, the mean, the median, and the mode are all exactly in the same spot. So 7 is going to be your mean, 7 is going to be your median, and 7's also the mode the one that happens most often, and that's the way all normal curves are. Okay, so now we're coming down here. These curves are what we call skewed right, which means most of the data is pushed to the left-hand part of the data. Okay, skewed right means that there's fewer data points up here. Okay, now the really big idea here. Okay, so when it is graphed, some distributions have more observations on one side of the graph than on the other. Distributions with fewer observations on the right toward the higher values are said to be skewed right. Okay, so you can see fewer observations over here. Most of your data points down here. Okay, this is really big though. This means that the mean is greater than the median. Okay, so these data points up here are going to pull your mean this way. Okay, and your median is somewhere, the middle of your data is somewhere back here. Okay, so that's where your median is going to be. Your mean is going to be greater than the median. Okay, so that's a really big idea. Make sure you understand that before you get to your quiz tomorrow. Okay, so if this one's skewed right, then this one's skewed left. Skewed left, the tail, most of the data is up here at the end. So like if you were a math teacher, right, you would not want your data to be skewed right. All your kids are scoring in low, right? You want all your kids scoring up here high. So that would be skewed right. Now notice what's happening here with the tail in the box and whisker plot. This tail is really long because remember that 25% of your data is from here to here, right? 25% of your data. 25% of your data is from there to there. Am I good still?
Yep.
25% of your data, dang it, 25% of your data is here, and 25% of your data is here. Well, you can see that it takes a lot more space to gain 25% of your data. Then the data points are packed up into here, okay? So this is what a dot plot would look like, skewed left, histogram, and a box and whisker plot. Okay?